He had sex with me while I was asleep. Without your consent, then it is almost like having sex with someone who is drunk or high. Firstly, I'm really sorry that happened to you, that's not on. Consent cannot be given if asleep, same as if you are unconscious. Ignore the absolute chuds trying to assert otherwise. Sex without consent is never okay. It's understandable not knowing what to do. I'd consider at least speaking to someone professional regarding this. If you feel like you should approach the police about this, then you should do just that without guilt. It's very common for women to wake me up by giving me head or outright having sex with me, especially if the prior night ended with sex. It's all situational on whether it's considered consensual or not. I personally have never had an issue with it, and on the other side of things, many women love being woken up like this. It's all about communication. Regardless of whether or not what he did is okay, this entire thread is a prime example of why you do not seek legal advice from a dating thread on Reddit. The comments from men on this thread are shockingly worrying. You were asleep and you did not consent, period. It does not matter if you had a previous sexual relationship. Why don't you make up your own mind and decide how you feel about it? It doesn't matter what the dopes in this sub think. It happened to you, not them. Maybe you should have a talk with him. Explain to him that you don't feel right being penetrated while you're sleeping. I know in my relationship, my GF doesn't mind me waking her up this way. It's a personal preference. Now, as a person who had experience with investigating SA, this is not cool at all. But it is also a fine line depending on all actions that lead up to that moment. Not cool. I would never even think to do that to my girl. I say move on. You don't want to be with someone that does crap like that, and I am a guy. Yes. Oh hell nah, send that dude to hell. That really was just wrong. Everyone is telling you to go to the police. I think that it depends on you and how do you feel about it. If you feel very violated, then do it. If not, then just break up with him and tell him the reason why. Do what going to give you inner peace. I'm going to give you both the benefit of doubt. Did you reciprocate the deed? Did he stop when you said no? If yes, then start asking him why he thought it was okay to do that. Maybe you mentioned something in the past? If his answer doesn't satisfy you, then I would move on, and pressing charges are up to you, as I'd say that is assault. If he didn't stop when you said no, then I'd immediately get the police involved. It was cause you didn't take part in the initiation. Did he have sex with you until completion? Did you wake up and tell him to stop and talk about it? Personally, I wouldn't like being woken up to my partner having sex with me. I'm not even fully awake. It's a weird thing to like IMO. I would just love to talk about it more with you with all of the details. Edit. Reading through more comments and your responses, you said you didn't stop him because you were in shock. However, he still entered you without your green light. I honestly feel no one in their right mind wants to have sex with someone who is unconscious asleep in the first place. If you don't report him, then you need to get rid of him. Make sure people know what he did. Block this guy on everything. Do not talk to him again. My wife begs for me to do this. Some girls are into it, but it's kind of weird to me. If your consent wasn't given to him the second time, when you were half asleep, then, yeah. I'd say so. But who am I to say? I'm not an expert. Yes. This is something that has to be spoken about. It's not something he should just do without getting permission prior. It'd be best to speak to him about it, and if it makes you uncomfortable, tell him so. I see a lot of people defending this guy. I also see you asked if you should go to the police. I honestly think, if you would have consented to it and don't actually have an issue with it, then leave it alone. If you don't feel right about it at all and would never have consented if you were awake, then go to the police. It really depends on how you feel. If you decide not to go to the police, keep an eye on his behavior. If it changes, or he tries something weird creepy, then I would go to the police, as it could happen again, making him a for sure predator. Also, if you decide not to go to the police, talk to him and let him know that you need to do verbal consent of yes when it comes to sex. This way he knows he fucked up. He might be naive and not know because you don't say anything.